This is Jeff Davis with Davis Group coming to you with agent training number 26. We're going to be talking today about working with lease to own. Now, in the real estate market, you've got your sellers and you've got your buyers. And typically, your buyers are going to go and get a traditional mortgage, conventional FHA, VA, and then you're going to have a closing. But there are times when you will come across people who have a good job. Maybe the credits needs a little work, or they just don't have enough money right now to cover all of the down payment. So those people traditionally have been left behind because they weren't able to buy. But we have partnered with some real estate investors, and we can offer what's called a lease to own program. And this works for the buyer, works for the sellers, works for you. Now, there are people out there who want to buy, and they're close to being able to do it. So what this program does is it gives them time. It gives them time to be able to, let's say, work on paying off some bills, getting their credit together, saving money, etc. Now, in order to qualify for this program, and there is some qualifications, number one, think of it in terms of a regular rental. You have to have verifiable income. They've got to have W-2s, etc., showing that they're working. You have to make enough money to cover the mortgage payment. You have to have decent credit. Now, when I say decent, I'm saying you're probably looking at a score of 620 or higher, and you cannot have any evictions on your record, or you wouldn't qualify for this program. You have to be able to cover the payment, which in this case would be rent, and you have to be able to come up with the security deposit. So again, just like a regular rental agreement. Now, the other criteria is that the investors that buy these properties are not going to buy them in every single area. So there are two ways that we show the house. Number one, of course, there are houses that the investors have now that they're willing to lease option. So we could, of course, show that to the potential buyer. But the second way is once we get the buyer approved, we can actually go out there and look for the house they want. So let's say they want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. They want it in the Inland Empire. They want it to be under $600,000, and they've been approved for a mortgage or rent amount that could substantiate that price. Then we could go out there and we could actually look for that house. Once we find the address of that house, we just, send it to the investor, make sure that they would fund it. As long as it falls within the criteria, and there are certain criteria which you'll learn as we walk through the program, in more in-depth training. We won't go through that today, but there are certain criteria that the house needs to meet in addition to, bedrooms, baths, etc. It's also location. Where is the house located, and what is it located by? So, the way that it works, how we do it is, first of all, we speak with the buyer, and we come to the conclusion that they're not able to buy now. This typically happens when you have them pre-qualified with a loan officer. The loan officer may come back and say, well, they're not able to do it now, but if we do this, this, and this, we should be able to get them ready in 6 months to a year. Most lease option contracts will give you anywhere between 1 to 2 years, 3 tops, but I'd say 1 to 2 years to be able to get everything together so that you can actually refinance, or not refinance, but actually buy the house from the investor. But the good thing is that you're going to be buying it at a predetermined price. So let's say 2 years from now, the market goes crazy and the house just super escalates in value. You won't be caught up in that. But anyway, so let's say we've established that they're unable to buy. We then introduce them to the website. We have them go in there and get pre-approved with the investors. So they're going to do a credit application. They're going to submit their check stubs. They're going to have the credit pulled. There is typically a fee, probably $35-40 that you pay to get your credit pulled. And then they're going to come back with a decision. The decision basically is going to be yes or no. Let's assume it's less. Then you're going to get what's called a pre-approval letter, and this will state how much you're approved for. That letter you then give to the realtor, and the realtor begins the search. They will look for properties that fall within that criteria as far as what you can afford, and that fall within the criteria of the investor. Now, Once you find the house, let's say we go out there and we look for it, we find the house is in the area the investor will buy in, then we make an offer. We make the offer on the house just like we would every other offer because you've got a pre-approval letter. So we're submitting it, you as the buyer, with the pre-approval letter to the selling agent and to the to the listing agent and to the seller. The investor will actually close the deal, and they don't use traditional mortgage financing. So you've got this pre-approval letter saying that you're pre-approved. The seller accepts the offer. The investor will probably do an appraisal on the property, just to be sure, so they have something in their records. But there is no, the other things that you would need with a traditional mortgage, you just don't go through. The only thing the buyer has to be able to do, they have to be able to pay the first month's rent, and they have to be able to pay the deposit. So let's say the rent's $3,000. Your buyer's going to have $6,000 available for closing. Now, the buyer gets to move into the house at closing. They get a 1-year lease that, again, can be extended up to 2 years. It gives them time to get approved by the lender. And then the buyer pays the investor off and takes the house in their name. So again, when the offer is made, when you're negotiating, you got to show that your buyer is able to buy. So that's why you use the pre-approval letter. But once the seller accepts, the investor is brought into the picture because the investor is going to buy the house and the title is going to be in the investor's name. So now that the investor owns the house, the buyer is given a lease, and the lease is going to come with the option. The lease will be like a standard residential lease. The option basically gives them the right to buy within that 1 or 2 year period whenever they're ready. Typically, they're going to go to the loan officer, work with the loan officer, get everything together. When the loan officer says they're pre-approved, they will then turn that option agreement into a sales contract, and they're able to buy the house. It's great for helping people who otherwise wouldn't own a house. It's a great program. Now, the best part for you as an agent is that this is a traditional sale for you. Although you're going through some things a little different for the buyer, you're still going to be able to get paid, just like you would working with a normal buyer situation. And that is great. You can typically expect somewhere between 2.5% to 3%. I'd say 2.5% would be probably more realistic. But you should be able to get paid for doing this. So we, as a real estate company, advertise this program as another venue. It's just another way for us to work with buyers. Not everybody fits into the program. Not everybody's able to buy. But it helps us to enlarge our tent and increase our territory. And it is something that you get for being a part of the Davis Group.